Okay, welcome back. Something a little bit different. It popped up on the side scrolling bar of YouTube, and I thought, well, this could be worth a watch, and I thought I'd do it with you guys as well, or if nobody watches this, I'll do it by myself, but as a video. Yeah, I mean, you probably gathered by now that I'm, nice and quiet, and I keep my opinions to myself, and I'm not at all opinionated. I think, this could annoy me enough for making a interesting video. So I don't know who Vice News are. Never heard of them. They sound like a shit news channel. Vice, I mean, it just sounds like some cheap, low budget sort of 70s, 80s cop show. Vice News thinks that World War II reenactors are reenactors are neo-Nazis. Well, I've known lots of German reenactors in my time, and never have I ever thought any of them have bordered on the extreme political views or have ever been anything which could be called neo-Nazis. In fact, I've met more American reenactors who are more sort of politically mental, should we say, than the German ones ever have been.
Hey guys, so today I watched a video called the Reich Reenactors. It's a video from Vice News, and it's one of the strangest things I've ever seen. I've never seen such a neglect of context in my life. This video
is he faking that? No, he's not. So I mean, this logo for Vice News just looks like cheap, chavvy crap. I mean, what is this? It looks like the sort of thing you'd stick on your skateboard when you were a kid, back in the 80s. Although, that dates me. Yeah, how can you take a news channel seriously with that logo?
Is simply put pathetic. Now, I want to make a disclaimer before we begin.
What the fuck was... Wait a minute. What the fuck is that? Where's he gone? Where's... Where... Oh, I want to see him. Why? I don't know where to start. I mean, what the... So, we've not got a white t-shirt. Now we've got black t-shirts. And, is this a 43? Or is it not even a 43? He's got a mic. I'm guessing this guy is the reporter for this, which would make sense as to why this looks like a shower of shit, and it's like everything about this is wrong. Hessian, wrong colour. Chin strap, done up. What the fuck is this jacket? What the fuck is this t-shirt? No musette bag. Yeah. I think this guy is going to be the problem.
Disclaimer before we begin. Vice News is a very left-leaning publication, so anything I say that's critical towards Vice News is going to come off like I am very right-leaning. And I just want to say that in making this video, I want to be as objective as possible. So please keep in mind that when you're dealing with a publication that is often so biased and so left-wing, I'm naturally going to end up looking pretty right.
Oh dear, I'm going to end up looking very right or left-wing, whichever way it is. Because if you're an arsehole, I will tell you you're an arsehole. If you're a fucking snowflake crybaby fairy who gets upset with being called an arsehole, then you can paint me as you want, but you're the fucking arsehole. I don't care. If Vice News are a shower of shit, I'll tell everybody they're a shower of shit. If they're not, then I'll defend them. Simple.
Wing for criticizing them. But just keep in mind that I'm trying to be as objective as possible when I analyze this video. So
yeah, that's exactly what I do. If people want to take my advice and improve their impressions, fantastic. If they look fucking the dog's bollocks, I say they look the dog's bollocks. Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Take it as you
find and just one more thing before we begin. I know this intro has been long enough, but for the sake of brevity, I'm going to be skipping around a little bit because the video is nearly 20 minutes long, and not all of it is relevant to the point I'm trying to make. So just know that if I'm skipping around, it's not because I'm trying to take the guy out of context or make his argument look more foolish than it is. It's more because I just want to save the viewer time. If you want to watch the full video, it's going to be in the description, so go ahead. And I encourage you to do that because it'll make my commentary make a little more sense. So, let's go.
Up and down the UK, on weekends and bank holidays, self-proclaimed history buffs arm themselves.
Oh, you see, this is the fucking news for you, isn't it? Just those couple of lines. They're already on the attack. They're painting reenactors, living history, whatever they call them, as the bad guys, as weirdos, as freaks. Self-proclaimed. I mean, I know a lot of stuff. I would never say I am a self-proclaimed history buff. The fuck? Yep. That line alone tells me exactly what Vice propaganda, they should be called, is all about.
Head to the woods and pretend to be soldiers of Hitler's Reich. It's a chance for...
Fucking what? Yeah. I can see why this guy doesn't like them.
Middle-aged men to escape lawnmower duties and to live out their fantasies.
Everything is spun in such a way that everything is negative. These guys are bad. How dare they have a hobby which isn't going to the pub and watching football? Every man's fantasy to dress up as Hitler's stormtroopers. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head, you fucking cretins.
It just so happens that their fantasies involve dressing up as the embodiment of all evil.
No. I mean, if you were dressing up as Hitler, I would say yes, that is very accurate. Oh, it just shows they know fuck all about history. They haven't got a clue. The average soldier in every nation has no interest in politics. Absolutely fucking zero.
Take note of the language he uses here. Self-proclaimed, pretend. It's all slanted language, and you can clearly...
Exactly. Yep. I think I'm going to get along with this guy in this video. He has just said exactly what I've just said. It's exactly what... In fact, most news services do exactly the same way. A lot of it isn't as fucking blatant as that was. That's, come onto my team, come onto my team. Look, these guys are weird. Come over here. Believe what I'm telling you. This is my opinion. Isn't it right? My opinion is right, isn't it? You agree with me, don't you? The BBC are a bit more subtle. They will just show you and tell you what they want you to know and see. They won't show you everything else. It's all reactionary. Look, this has happened. Isn't it bad? And this is no different. This is just an extreme form of it.
Really tell where the guy's going just from the start.
Yeah.
Already I can tell.
Wow, he says exactly what I said. And I haven't watched this. Honestly, I have not watched this.
He's going to criticize these people for dressing up as Nazis, rather than recognizing that they have a passion for history.
Yeah.
But as we continue forward, you will see that it gets much more blatant than just slight slanted language.
To them it's just a bit of a laugh. But across much of the reenactment community, this sort of thing is largely banned.
Whoa. Across the reenactment community. Since when have Kent Online been part of the reenactment community? Kent Online is another shit rag newspaper which jumps on board anything because people go crying to them who have been to a Militaria show and seen evil uniforms that might convert people into, you know, committing atrocities against certain races. Fucking...
In a culture as unforgivingly easy to offend as ours, a lot of people wouldn't be up for dressing as history's most reviled monsters.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there that's just completely incorrect.
Oh,
so he claims that people just do this to have a laugh and that it's all just a big joke. But really that's not true. A lot of people take this very seriously.
Yeah.
Reenacting is a hobby that people are very, very serious about. They want to reenact this era, they want to reenact these battles, and they want to show them to be authentic to the 1940s.
Yep.
It's about showing people what war was really like back then. It's not about, you know, oh, we're just going to play soldier in the woods, like he's trying to make it sound.
Thank you.
It's very, honestly, disrespectful that he sits here and criticizes these people for having a hobby. He also claims that across the reenactment community, this sort of thing is largely banned. That's just a ridiculous claim. How are you going to...
You ask any reenactor, should German soldiers be at all the shows? They're all going to tell you yes. Let's imagine a battle, although the battles are fucking ridiculous anyway. Let's face it, you know, it's just an excuse to shoot blanks and entertain the public. Let's imagine a battle now with either the Americans or the British or the Russians, so an allied force against... Wait, if the Germans can't come, what the fuck are we going to be doing? We're just standing there shooting blanks at air? We could attack somebody else. We could have the Americans attacking... what? Trees? Daleks? Stormtroopers? Actually, stormtroopers would be ideal, because then neither fucking side could hit each other and they could shoot all day long. But you get the point. It doesn't work without the enemy, you know. I know these are the bad guys, as some dickheads like this prick would call them. They are still a part of history. You can't hide them away, because they might offend you fucking snowflake crybaby wankers. Ridiculous.
To have a World War II reenactment if nobody can dress up as the Germans? That doesn't make any sense. What are you going to be reenacting at that point? If everybody's just American or Soviet or British, what are they shooting at? Like what is happening? I don't understand. How could you have a reenactment if there's no bad guys? It doesn't. How does that work? Somebody please explain that to me. How does that work? And finally, he claims that the German Wehrmacht and SS during World War II are, quote, history's most reviled monsters.
Yeah,
Look,
well, I mean,
Nazis...
that just highlights that the guy is ill-educated, has no interest in reporting this properly, has done no research. This is all about a spin on how fucking weird these people are, how disrespectful these people are, how dare they portray this evil race of super-villain Nazi soldiers. This is just to vilify people. This is to get a reaction. This is a reaction piece. This is no different to what the BBC try and do.
He did some absolutely atrocious, horrible things. But not every soldier in the Wehrmacht was some evil Nazi war criminal who wanted all the Jews murdered. It's just not true. Most Wehrmacht, if not all Wehrmacht soldiers, really weren't Nazis. There's very few of them who are actual party members. Most of the people in the Wehrmacht were just German citizens who were doing their duty for their country, just like any other country in the world.
Because I wanted to keep my job, I declined to go Nazi and asked if I could play one of the bad guys instead, an American GI.
I declined to go Nazi. Let's clarify something important here. The word Nazi, it's a member of the political organisation of the German Socialist Party, which in German basically abbreviates to Nazi. So it's a member of a political party. So I don't even know who's in government now, because you know what, I don't give a fuck about politics. Let's just say it's the Conservatives. I don't know if it's true or not, and it's irrelevant for this point. So let's say the Conservatives are in power. Does that mean that every single person in the British Army, Navy and RAF are all die-hard Conservatives? If they're not, your usage of the word Nazi is flawed massively, which it is obviously. You can't compare a political party to a group of people and just put them all as members of that party if they're in the army. It doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. And what a gormless fucking idiot this guy is.
Wait a minute. Come on. Isn't this guy an investigative journalist? Isn't that the whole point of this video?
No, he's a dickhead.
Look, if you don't want to be a neo-Nazi, I totally get it. If you don't want to be mistaken for a neo-Nazi, that's fine. But dude, you're at a World War II reenactment. You're on the German side. You're interviewing all these people. They're giving you their time to talk about their hobby. How would you lose your job exactly?
Yeah.
Oh, I went to a World War II reenactment and I reenacted a Wehrmacht soldier. That doesn't mean you're a Nazi. If people maybe they think that over at Vice News, but nobody with a brain would think that. That's insane.
That's the flaw to your argument. Anybody with a brain wouldn't think that. Yep, they don't have brains. This is why these dickheads do this and actually believe that people are going to take their reporting. What the fuck are they reporting? It's basically storytelling. Yeah, they're not. No, let's just hit play.
In hell, you Nazi fuck.
But is this really a sinister pastime?
Oh my god.
Or is it just
So, he can't be a German, but he can be a piss poorly dressed American with a Lee Enfield British rifle and a flat backpack?
a sinister pastime? Or is it just cosplay with a few more swastikas?
No.
Fucking jumped up schoolboy little... I won't say it. What an absolute arsehole. I bet he's never been brave enough to go to another reenactment event ever again and show his face. I don't think he would leave alive.
Actually, buddy, it's neither. It's something called reenactment. Yeah, reenactment. It's something people do. They reenact battles. It's not cosplay. It's not one of your fucking conventions on the weekend that you go to in your furry costume. It's a reenactment. It's a very common thing. I don't know if it's common over there in Britain, but they're very common over here in the United States. We do them all the...
They are big over here too. I know they're huge in the States. In fact, it's pretty much worldwide now. You pick a country, there is reenactments going on. I did a reactionary video today, a few hours ago, on a US unit in Japan. And they are one of... No, I'll correct that. They are the best looking, most authentic living history group. Let's not use the word reenacting group. Living history I've ever seen. It was truly, staggeringly amazing. That's the only word for it. So they are massive over here as well. I don't know the guy's name who's doing this video. I should do, really. Actually, can we? No. CDF. Yeah.
The time. Minor nitpick here, but that's an American GI holding a Lee Enfield SMLE, which is a British rifle. So maybe I'm giving these reenactors.
This CDF guy is fucking brilliant.
There's too much credit.
I think half the reason that they're even letting us do this is because they're so sure that they're not Nazis. I feel like if they were Nazis, then they would be like, absolutely fucking not. But because I feel like they're kind of so strongly in the reenactment vibe and not in the I'm a fucking Nazi vibe, I think they're kind of more comfortable with it and more comfortable with being filmed. I don't think I'm in the Führer bunker. I think I'm just in the reenactment bunker.
You know, this part of the video is so strange because it almost seems like he's starting to get it. Like, yeah, you know, these guys, they're just here to reenact history. They're not here to, you know, be neo-Nazis. But then the video just keeps going for some reason. And it's like, dude, you already figured it out. Like, I don't know why you're sitting here continuing to, you know, to push these ideas that these people could actually be, like, Nazi sympathizers. Like, it's just nuts to me. Because he keeps going with it. He keeps trying to push this idea throughout the video, even though he just had this moment where he sat there and thought to himself, you know...
Yeah, he's had his epiphany. He's realised, yeah, as this guy says, why is there more? That should have been put at the end of the video.
I think these guys are just here to reenact history. I don't think they're here to, you know, kill Jews. No. I think they're just here to, you know, do something that's a hobby of theirs. Huh. But then the video keeps going, so I don't know.
I felt like the rest of the squad were going to take their living history very seriously. I needed a character to blend in.
Damn, boy. Damn, boy, he's thick!
So in this next segment, he interviews a guy who's dressed up as a member of the Das Reich division, which is a controversial German unit that committed a serious war crime in France. And with the way he debriefs the interview, he makes it sound like the guy himself is more of a war criminal than the actual German guys that did that, and tries to make it sound like they're living vicariously through these Nazis, and it's just comes off as very condescending.
One of the things about dressing up as a Nazi is that you're going to have a whole host of excuses to justify it. And there's also the element of, you know, I want to play. It's playtime, basically. It's just a very oddly...
Notice the way he's saying this on his own, behind closed doors and not directly to this guy's face. Probably filmed afterwards so that he can react to what he's already said during that chat. Wanker. Two-faced fucking coward.
Specific thing to want to pretend to be.
So he uses terms like justification, and it's just such a weird term because it's like, what are they trying to justify exactly? That they're war reenactors?
Yeah, there's nothing to justify. He's not robbed a bank, and he's not making excuses why he's done that. He has a hobby, which is legal. It's fine. It's unusual. Yes, it's an unusual hobby. And when you explain to people who don't know what you do, they go, "What? You spend all this money and you sleep in fields and you get dirty and you run around and yeah, it's unusual. Does it need justifying? As much as joining a pool league or you like jigsaws? No, it doesn't need justifying."
I'm so confused because it's like this guy had that introspective moment before where he sat there and thought, these guys aren't actual Nazis. They're just guys who are doing some reenactments. They're just having a good time out here and doing something that's their hobby. And now he's right back to this again of them being actual Nazis and having to justify themselves.
But this may come down to the editing process because not everything's filmed in order. When they make like a TV series, they will film episode 1 or part of episode 1, and they might film part of episode 7. If the whole script's done for it all, and just individual scenes that look alike where characters are dressed a certain way, and then they jump backwards and forwards and piece by piece, and then they put everything together. I can only assume that may have been filmed one of the last things where he goes, "Oh yeah, these guys are actually normal. They're not super villain freaks, master race, obsessive weirdos." Oh, okay. But when they put all this together, for whatever fucking reason, because I'm sure he had nothing to do with the editing, because frankly I wouldn't trust that kid to blow his own nose. Whoever did the editing and put it all together, for some reason, put it there. Possibly. That's the only thing I can think of why he would say that in the middle of the video and it just keep on going.
Reflections? Do your self-reflections mean nothing? Like, do they mean nothing to you? Are you this delusional? Like, I don't get it. This guy's out of his mind. Like, yes. I don't understand. Another ridiculous thing I noticed throughout this video is that this guy will sit there and just bitch and moan about how these guys are dressed up as Nazis. And then there's a woman standing right in front of him in a Soviet uniform, where the Soviets were known in World War II for raping and killing so many civilians, especially German civilians who were completely uninvolved in combat. And he just doesn't even care. He just sits there like it's nothing.
It's not that he doesn't care. He doesn't know. He has no fucking idea about history. He doesn't know that any of the Soviet atrocities goes on. He's probably never heard of a gulag. He is absolutely fucking clueless. He is just there to try and make a story where there's no story.
There's a hammer and sickle on this girl's hat. And he's just like, whatever. Who cares? So next they have the reenactment. And it's actually pretty damn cool. I'm not going to lie. The gunfire is neat. The scenes of soldiers running and stuff is pretty cool. And overall, it looks like a pretty good time. It looks like a lot of fun. It's something that I kind of want to do someday now. It looks pretty cool. At the end of the battle, the host here calls the German soldiers Nazis. He says that they are the friendliest group of Nazis he's ever met. So one of the guys steps up and says, "Look, man, we're not Nazis." And the guy that said that really wasn't dressed up as a Nazi. He was dressed up as Wehrmacht, German Heer, which is the main army.
Yeah,
they weren't Nazis. There's nothing about the German Heer in World War II that were Nazis. Then he claims this.
When the camera stopped rolling, Nick told me in no uncertain terms that he and the crew had a problem with me calling them Nazis. He said I shouldn't use the N-word, despite me, of course, referring to who they were reenacting and not their political views.
No. Absolutely not. You cannot say that. No, sir. Because he's not reenacting a Nazi. German here were not Nazis.
Exactly.
It's just simple fact. They were not a Nazi unit. They were not affiliated with the party. It's just false. That's just a false statement. You can't say that. He wants you to not call him a Nazi because he's frustrated with the fact that you don't understand what the difference between SS units and Heer units are.
Well, he doesn't know what the term Nazi means. He has not got a clue. He just thinks, oh look, swastika, you must be a Nazi. It's that simple in his mind.
It's because you know nothing about history. It's because you've come here, you've invaded these people and their hobby, you've pretty much called them Nazis straight out, and yet you have no understanding of history, and you have no understanding of the German Wehrmacht during World War II. So he's not frustrated because, you know, you're trying to label him a Nazi. He's frustrated because you have no idea what you're talking about, and yet you're coming here as a reporter pretending you have an idea of what you're talking about.
Yep.
You're a clown. You're a fool.
What would be the message that you'd want to impart to them?
If anyone's because obviously the symbols and stuff and the uniforms we carry do carry those connotations with them, and quite greatly so, we should never forget what was done under that name. But come and talk to us, and you'll soon quickly realise that that's not what we're about at all.
So we've come to the end of the day. The hog roast is being prepared as we speak. I've shot at people, I've been shot at, and I can't deny that there's a certain thrill to it, even if most of the day is just fucking sitting behind trees and waiting for things to happen. And I can see why Nick is into it, but that doesn't make wearing SS uniforms and Nazi uniforms okay. And when we just spoke to Nick right now, he didn't want to talk about the political side of it, but it's always political when you're wearing a swastika. And
you don't fucking listen. Why would he want to talk to you? It's like flogging a dead horse. It ain't gonna fucking move.
In every language, that means the same thing.
No, in your deluded fucking world, it means the same thing.
But maybe that's the prize we get for victory. The privilege of pissing around in a forest dressed as a genocidal murderer.
Wow. Wow.
Do you know, I was about to pause it and go, wow. I'm glad that this guy feels the same way about this dickhead as I do. What a fucking moron.
That is the weakest conclusion I've ever heard to anything in my life.
Yep.
Ever. The fact that this guy is so stupid that he's unable to discern the idea of reenactment from being a neo-Nazi is just... it's just absurd. Like, there's no other word for it. This is the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard in my life.
Yep.
He tries to say that it's always political no matter what, but he's just completely disregarding the context of the situation in an effort to try and push some agenda that just doesn't fit. For a long time in the United States, this concept of reenactment has been very widely accepted and very widely known. A lot of times it's just Revolutionary War enactments, but there's also been a lot of Civil War reenactments too. And the Civil War is a very, very touchy subject. But people here don't seem to have that problem with it. No. And I think it's because they're smart enough to discern the fact that it's a reenactment.
Yeah.
The people who are playing the Confederates, they don't hate black people. They don't want to enslave people. They're not actual racists. And I hate it when people pull the I have a black friend card. But I do, and I spoke to him about this issue, and he made a very profound statement about it that I would like to read to you now. He said, and I quote, "Feelings of being offended in situations similar to this kind is counterproductive from my point of view. If we forget about what happens in the past, there's no way we can learn from it. To me, it's like someone saying they're offended by a history book." He also stated that reenactments are simply a better way of telling the story of what happened, during a period in time, and that the people dressing up as Confederate soldiers are not the same people who harbor the same intention of those who actually participated on the side of the Confederates. Now, this statement isn't necessarily a definitive answer to anything, but it's a great perspective, and I'm not going to sit here and say that every black person is completely unoffended by the idea of Confederate reenactors, but I feel like that perspective that was given to me was very thoughtful and, quite honestly, the most correct way that you could discuss something like that. And while it may not be a perfect parallel to the subject matter of this video, I believe it to be at least sufficient. I mean, the people who are supposed to be offended by stuff like this are the people who are disenfranchised by the groups that are portrayed. And in this case, that would be the Jewish community. And I have not heard one Jewish person ever talk about how they're offended by World War II reenactors.
No.
It's just a silly premise to even propose.
Yes.
Even if the premise of this guy's argument wasn't completely ridiculous, I think I would still have an issue with him because he just comes off as very nose in the air, very condescending. He really looks down on these people for their hobby.
Guy's an arsehole.
Just the overzealousness, the holier-than-thou attitude, and the sweeping generalization of all the people involved in this hobby is just completely sickening. I think he generalized everything he could have possibly generalized in this video. He generalized the people who are participating in the reenactment. He generalized all German soldiers during the Second World War.
Yep.
And he generalized his audience into thinking that they're a bunch of morons who can't think for themselves, clearly. This is really disappointing, too, because I've seen Vice News actually do some very good investigative work. But this is the most pathetic thing I think I've ever watched in my life. And I hope to God Vice News fired this guy after this video was released, because this is terrible. Like, this is the worst thing I think I've seen in a long time.
Yep.
So that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know in the comments what you think about this video, and whether or not you agree or disagree with me. And feel free to like the video, or even leave a dislike. I appreciate any feedback. My only stipulation with leaving a dislike is that you drop a comment down below and let me know what I can improve on for next time.
That's fair enough. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think anybody in their right mind is going to disagree with what you've just said. The guy is a total bellend. It's all like reactionary news. It's just designed to make people angry, whether they agree with him or disagree with him. It's just to get a reaction. And if he actually thinks it's serious reporting, then the guy needs his fucking head examined. Anyway, I'm glad I watched that. Yeah, interesting that somebody could be that fucking narrow-minded and that stupid. Okay. Right, I'm signing off. Until next time.